Please, our professor, you want us to do the help. Don't worry about the number, they will come in good numbers and we will suppress for that matter. But this is just a sample. They will come in good numbers. I'm going to read the Bible text and the Bible read. My version is to read version 2. Surely there is some medicine in Gilead. Surely there is a doctor in Gilead. So why are the homes of my people not healed? Therefore, the preacher is going to enlighten us about that. Once again, welcome to this Baptist week of health. Therefore, I'm going to invite our chorister to lead us through the key song that is called the Fight.
Very important because it's something that only you can take care of. Yes, even if you go for assistance elsewhere, partners maybe don't understand well, but it's you who has the sole responsibility to take care of it. And since these bodies are God's temple, you know, we think about building churches, we raise a lot of money for that. But if you think about the churches, usually most churches, they have it once a week. maybe twice a week. Yeah? But the place God wants to reside in, so He puts a lot of emphasis in how we should take care of it, so we make that residence conducive a board for Him to be able to live there. So, but this week, the theme is the song basically. It's about Gilead, which comes from the book Jeremiah 8:82, where God is asking His people. He's not asking heathen, He's talking about His people who know Him. Yeah, He's asking that question, but you shall go. Yeah, is there no bug? He's asking in a negative term, trying to tell them that actually there is a bug, and that if there are issues and matters help for that, because it's about healing. Why is there not the help of my daughter? Yes, Ryan. So it's his people, and I think we are. Now I'll just ask those who came now to stand so that we can introduce them, and then succession to just encourage us and give us wisdom on how to live this earth and you're waiting for our return. So everybody will say their own name and say where you come from, who you are affiliated with. So we'll start with.
My name is Stephanie.
That's talking Ayodo.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
I'm Valerie Kini from Kotkaya.
Okay, that's Valerie. Yes.
Niona Ayodo from Kotkaya.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm calling Soliworo Pim from Gotkaya.
Each other. Yes, not only are you affiliated with my relatives. Yeah, I have some relatives and some of them will come later. It's very good. So that's us, and we're passionate about it because it's like God said. It's heaven's. I think Greek inspiration talks about God looks at us at this particular time, and the suffering that sometimes you may go through. You know, not all the suffering, of course, yeah, but the suffering that you think you're in that God does not see. He actually sees it, and it's always sending beams of light, rays of light, help us. And one of the biggest problems that we have now is help. In fact, when you have your community at homes or start families or even in your extended families, one of the heaviest burdens that people bear is that of lack of help. Yes, it takes a big toll. It can wipe out people's savings when someone gets really sick. And God has a way out because He who sees the end from the beginning saw us. Let's go to that verse, and someone will help me as we will be reading Jeremiah 8:22. Number one, why did you choose that verse? Or who chose it? Why did you choose that verse? What's in your mind?
Baba.
Who chose the verse?
Derek.
Who chose the theme? Or it was a man, one man or one woman, or the community. Why? Okay, or maybe let me coin it a different way. What comes to your mind when you have that theme that is drawn from Jeremiah 8:22? What comes to your mind? Let's read. Is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? Why then is not the health of the daughter of my people recovered? So if you're doing a comprehension, you told Chambua that statement. That means the situation at that particular point is that they seem to be failure as far as health system is concerned. Yeah? If the person is saying, why is then not the health of the daughter of my people recovered? There's a lot of illness. There's a lot of illness and people are trying to find solutions. Now, and this is not new. This is Jeremiah's time. This is not new at all. And that's why when we go to when God was starting out the Israelite nation, when he was starting them off on a new page, one of the verses he gave was seeing the effect that can happen when there is deviation from his set path. He says, let's read in Exodus 15:26, and then we'll come back to this verse. They're starting a new nation. They're starting a new life. They're starting a group of people whom people would look at and want to be like. They were a pilot project, yes? They were supposed to be evangelistic as themselves. not having to go and look out for people, but people would come to seek them. And there are many examples of that. Even when Christ was here on earth, the Greeks came to seek him. That means they had some inclination, they had heard about him before. You think about the days of Hezekiah. Who came to see him? Babylonians. Coming to look for. Think about the days of Solomon. That was God's ideal. It should have been like that if they had followed what God had wanted. So someone read for me Exodus 15:26. And we'll refer to it a number of times. And the same verse or similar verse is also found in Deuteronomy. But let's just look at the one in Exodus. Because Deuteronomy is actually remembrance. They are remembering what they had been told earlier, but unfortunately a lot of things they hadn't followed, what could have been. But here they were actually starting out, and God tells them that, who's reading?
15:26.
Yes.
Exodus, the Bible says, and say, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and wilt do that which is right in his sight, and wilt give ear to his commandments, and keep all his...
You're on the right track. All this, yes, you're right.
He said to him, I am the Lord your God. If you listen to me and do what I say is right, and if you obey all my commands and laws, then I will not give you any of the sicknesses that I gave the Egyptians. I am the Lord who heals you.
Yes, I am the Lord that healeth you. So all the benefits he could have given, it doesn't say it prospers, but then why did he stop? Or the phone died. Oh, sorry. Yes? Or he could have said many things. Yeah, and if you look at the book of Deuteronomy, there are many things he talks about his intentions for that nation. Yes? Unfortunately, they haven't reached there, because in Deuteronomy, as I said, Moses is giving his final talk, God's ideal, and unfortunately, a lot of things didn't fall through. But of all the things that he would have said you'd have wealth, you would have said you'd what? Anything. You'd be wise. But the thing he picks out is what? Disease. As I said, he sees the end from the beginning. He sees that without the instructions he gives, people just, meandering in darkness. They're doing stuff, but they don't understand no head from tail. They're doing things based on custom, or doing things based on what they have been told, or doing things based on some scientific fact that after 5 years becomes obsolete. And then they're just doing things. So he has guidelines. And I like the fact that this quarter we're learning about Psalms and a lot of important things, including how he directs our life, so that statement he says, I will put none of the diseases that I put upon the Egyptians. So now we go back to the key text. Why is the health of the daughter of my people not? No? Why? Then, yes? Why then? If he gave that statement when they were starting, and whenever you have a new group of people, they're excited, they're motivated, hopefully they're impressionable, hopefully they will follow through. Yeah? If you have, when people finish university, go for job training, you're very excited. Whatever you're told at that particular point, you usually do. When you stayed at a workplace for 5 years, 10 years, then you become complacent, you start thinking. But when they're starting, so God gives that injunction at that particular point. And God is not a liar. His intention was that. Now, why does he say that about the Egyptians? Why does he hate the Egyptians? Yes? I don't think so. Yeah? If anything, we as Africans, we are more Egyptian than we are Abraham. I'm getting, no, I'm not from the spiritual aspect. If you look about the lineage from Shem, Ham, and Japheth, where did we come from? Yes? Are we Semites? Are we from the line of Shem? Or are we from the line of Ham? Or are we from the line of Japheth? It's a question. Where is our lineage? From Ham. Yes? From Ham. And from Ham, there are many other children who came. There's Canaan. Canaan was one who was cursed. When Ham went and saw his father naked, it's Canaan who got the curse. But there from our lineage, you see, in fact, the foremost forefathers were not very nice. People like Nimrod, who fought against God, who started even sun worship. Yeah? But does God hate us? No. Yes, I even say if you look at our statistics now, in the whole world, which area has the most Adventists? Which area? Just guess. Of course, I've already probably given you a clue. I've said, we're saying our forefathers didn't start out very well. They were the ones who are so much against God. Of course, God chose the Shemites or the Semites as a pilot project, not so that they can be the only elite people who know God, but so that they can share that light. And today, as you look down, if you look at the Jews versus Africans, where are there more Christians? Africa. Now, the other question, where are there more Adventists? I'm already going to clue. Where do we have the most Adventists in the world? Where? Somewhere where in Africa? Which division has the most Adventists? Which division? Yes, just say it. It's this one. Yes? Yes, it's East and Central. Yeah, we are the most. That means God doesn't love just a few people. His work was just sometimes to take a few, just like Christ when he had 12 disciples, to give them some extra skill so that others will see and then they can be able to share with others. So today we see that God did not hate the Egyptians. So why does he say, I will put none of the diseases that I put upon the Egyptians on you? Is it because he hates the Egyptians? No. Yeah? Now, the Egyptian story is a whole great controversy story. Yes? Why God himself had to take his people, take them to Egypt, then bring them out. Why so much drama? Yeah? Why not just start the group wherever? He had to take them to Egypt first, and then draw them out with his strong right arm. Yes, with his what? Strong. He actually uses that term. When you go back to Exodus 13, he says, I brought you out, and we'll go through that again during the week. Yeah? I brought you out through my strong, stretched out right arm. Yes? And again, as I said earlier, it was a pilot project. So when he's telling his people, they had been in Egypt for 430 years. Yeah? When he told Abraham, your children will go, they were supposed to be there 400, so there was some extra 30, for whatever reason, yeah? So they'd been there for 430 years. And God always refers to the Israelites as my firstborn. When you have a firstborn, you usually put a lot of pressure on firstborns, because they also will be able to guide the others. If they go the wrong way, the rest might also go the wrong way. If they go the right way, the rest may also go the right way. Now the devil had done the same in Egypt. If you when we were studying history in high school, we used to have what is called comparative religion. We are looking at the different religions, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, and Hinduism, Buddhism, and you find that most of these nations that have many gods, their origin was from Egypt. Yes? Anybody, I don't know if the curriculum changed by the time you're doing history. Anybody did history here? Do you learn about Ra and Osiris? Or that had been removed? Yeah? The god Ra, Osiris, those gods were the Egyptian gods. They were the Egyptian gods. And there are many things you can talk about the Egyptian gods, but from that Egyptian origin, even the gods of the Caucasians, if you go to Spain, Italy, Rome, okay, the issues they have about like Ishtar, Ishtar comes from Osiris. So they bought from here because of, I told you, the origin of Nimrod. That's where. So the devil took Egypt as his firstborn. So God says, okay, you want to influence the world through your firstborn, I'll bring my firstborn to where you are, and then I'll remove my firstborn out, with my outstretched arm, so that people realize that I am God, and beside me there is no arm. That is what is happening. And actually, you can look at chapter 4 when he's actually telling Pharaoh, because Pharaoh was representing whom? The devil, that I will kill your firstborn. He's not only talking to Pharaoh and that boy or that young man who will take over from that incumbent Pharaoh. He's talking to the devil. He will destroy Egypt. And when the Israelites left, Egypt was destroyed. But remember, even as the Israelites left, anybody who decided to ally or affiliate with the Israelites was not left behind. Yes? God's principle is each person, there are corporate consequences or rewards, but there are also individual ones. And we realize that a lot of people, in fact, unfortunately, they got a lot of problems later on. The great multitude who saw how God had worked, after a while, would listen to the instructions given to the Israelites and follow them. So when God says, put blood on your lintel, they put blood on the lintel. So that's why God is saying in 15:26, if thou wilt diligently, not looking at God's law as maybe this is not important, taking it as a whole, as from someone who wants you to have a different life from the one the Egyptians had. Now the Egyptians at that particular point were the first, in worldly terms, they were first world, if you can use that term. Yeah? They were first world, they are the most advanced. Yeah? They were the America of today. People want to go to America, live the big dream. If they go there, they would come back, yes? Because they have reached Omifika. So they were greatly endowed. And if you look, and that's basically in worldly terms. And I'm saying that in worldly terms because even if you look at the genealogy of when at the beginning, when you had Cain and the line of Seth, if you look at how they are written, yes? When they're talking about Cain, they're saying people of renown. Yes? They were known, they were famous or infamous, let me use that term, eh? Because all they had to give was what they did in this life. And then if you look at the lineage of Seth, they've lived this many years, had sons and daughters, and died. In a worldly term, you look at God's people as if they were doing nothing. Yes? As if they were doing nothing. These ones, because they had to prove themselves, they were fighting against God. They wanted to show God they can live without him, like Cain, yes? Went and made a city named after his son. They are doing things. That was Egypt. They are doing so many things that are attractive to the world, that draws people. Look at first world countries, a lot of them, they don't believe so much in God. Yes, they have a lot of atheism because they're doing it, this is my mind, Nebuchadnezzar mindset. I made all this. So what they have is to show the world, because after that life, nothing else. So that was what Egypt was. But that's the place where that also the devil groomed his firstborn. Talked about the worship of the sun god, about the snake as being there. In fact, if you look at the headgear that Pharaoh had, it always had a snake, yeah? Following after the deception that the devil used to deceive Eve. So basically I'm saying that was their firstborn, and but unfortunately it's a place that even sometimes God's people would say, that's a place that I'd like to be, because it seems they're doing well compared to God's people. So God takes them there to live that life. And all the time they're there, they are, for a lot of their life, they're in bondage. They're in bondage, yes? And they cry out to God. Then after living that life, seeing how it is to serve the devil, he moves them out with his outstretched arm and tells them, despite all the seemingly successful things that occur in Egypt, one of the things that haunts them a lot is disease. Yeah? Now, one good thing that the Egyptians did, I don't know if it's good or bad, they have mummies, yes? They have artifacts from days, because they used to preserve the bodies, define back to the ground, dust to dust, and they say no, we're not going back to dust. So those mummies were well preserved for a long time. In fact, even the pyramids that they used to build were actually their tombs. So you spend more time, actually they are building for their next life. Yes? So again, the devil brings your concept. They invested, the whole time you're living, you're building a pyramid for your afterlife. Yes? The devil copying from God that we should invest in heaven more than here. Not that we're idle here, that's a story for another day. But anyway, so in the mummies, what they found that many of the ailments that we have even today, that sometimes we call them new. As Solomon says, there's nothing new under the sun. So if it was diabetes, they had them. If it was illnesses like hypertension, they had them. Even malaria, so they'd go and actually look at maybe how their blood vessels were, yeah? And they'd find they have a lot of cholesterol, they have a lot of hypertension. The ailments that you see, cancers, they have areas that are eaten out. So from those mummies, they have found that you can have a disease catalog that is very similar to even the new ailments that are coming at this particular time. So God knows that. So he says those diseases, why? One, because instead of serving the God who's living, who has created them, they were serving a dead God, yes? And they are serving the devil, yes? Who cannot give life. In fact, if you look at the devil's mindset, his is to destroy. And that's why Christ says in John 10:10, that the thief cometh but to kill, to destroy, or to... Those are the things, anything the devil does, have that at the back of your mind, that is his aim. So he's always destroying. So he cannot build a kingdom because he's always destroying it. But I am come that, and not just life, yes. So God is not just comfortable with you just thriving, surviving. He wants some vibrance. There's a little bit more. So the Israelites had a chance to see that life of the Egyptians. They have a lot of money, they have a lot of wealth, they have a lot of everything. They have slaves, they have superpower, they have chariots, they have in this world a lot of things. They have gotten it. But they had a lot of disease, a lot of ailments that killed them. If you look at history, died young, very, very young. Yes? Infights and all that. So there's struggle. Despite that fame, or yes, despite that outwardly successful life, there was a lot of disease. And that's a huge burden. Because many people, someone says, if you don't take care of your health, because you're seeking for wealth, you'll eventually use that wealth to try and seek for health. Yeah, it's very hard. Yes, it's very hard to do that. So let's transpose that to our modern world again. The countries that people think are first class in their mindset, you think of the Western world, America, Europe, and even here in our nation, when you think of being more affluent or finishing school and getting to live as you want to live, what's the picture you draw? Yeah, an American dream. And if you go to the same statistics, when you look at disease burden, a lot of times I want to say that they usually say Africa has big disease burden. No, a huge disease burden is found in those countries. You have people who have had surgeries. Yeah, someone telling you about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 surgeries. Yes, someone who eats medicine as if like food. Yeah? You have a bag. In fact, they usually have like a calendar. A pill box that is made like a calendar. So you have day 1, day 2, day 3, day up day 30. And then now when you go for your refill, the amount of drugs for that particular day is put. Yeah? So you have a calendar, as I said, boxes with those medicines. And they have to take at a particular time. Given this pill, this medicine causes this. More drugs than anything else. That's the successful life. Yes, you're driving big cars, you're living in big cities, big homes, you have slaves, quote unquote, but ailment is a big thing. Yes? It's the same here. Many people who become more affluent, in fact, a lot of lifestyle diseases were formerly called, I'm saying formally, were formerly called diseases of affluence. A few years back, not many, maybe 15, maybe 20, when you were just being born, the hospitals here were not so many. Yes, there are not as many. When you're coming to a graduate, you see there are many hospitals. That means that the seeking of help has moved in big sectors. Now, I grew up in Nairobi, and there's United Hospital, of course, and that is the biggest hospital. Yeah, and so you have a hospital, everybody, those days there's no MTRH. Everybody, when you're being referred, you go where? International Hospital. And then there was Nairobi, there are many others, Aga Khan, Nairobi Hospital, the big hospitals. And Nairobi Hospital, I remember, used to be just a few houses. Yes, they actually looked like homes. There were just a few houses. Yes, very few. Up to just 15 years ago, maybe 20. 15, 20 years ago, not too far. Okay, maybe they say not too far, some people are saying that's in the world. But anyway, but it's not too far off. Yes? And then all of a sudden, you find that, like Nairobi Hospital,